My name is Wisdom Masango.
My name is Tsepi Mushala.
My name is Marcus Masemola.
Ricardo.
I am Pretty Smith.
My name is Darren Gosi.
My name is Vuz Chabela.
My name is Sibusiso.
Hashtag men can do better.
Hashtag men can do better.
Hashtag men can do better.
Hashtag men can do better. Hashtag men can do better.
Hashtag men can do better.
Hashtag men can do better.
Segwanele.
Let us stop gender-based violence.
Be the change. It starts with you.
Men's championing change. We can do better. And we are capable of doing it better. Even much better.
What we are saying is that be the change, Segwanele, because enough is enough. Hello everybody, welcome to Hashtag Men Can Do Better pre-launch. My name is Wisdom Masango, mostly known as Swizzy BRK, and today we are in Hashtag Men Can Do Better pre-launch, and this pre-launch is structured mainly on gender-based violence, which we will be talking about. We'll be further discussing gender-based violence and nothing else today. So we still having our guests out here who are here, and we have people who haven't made it on this event, and they have sent their apologies, especially the mayor. He said that he won't be available. He's in the mayor's conference. We also would like to thank our partners, which is Nkangala Men's Sector, Kuluma Sizwe Ndoda, and the South African Police Services. Plus, we'd also like to thank Pilanati Golden Stars NPO, which is here with us today. So we also like to thank all our RSVPs. We have Mr. Marcus Masemola on our side, who is an entrepreneur, and we have Ricardo, who is presenting Express, who is here on behalf of Express. We have Mr. Mpumalanga, Mr. Mpumalanga finalist, actually. Sorry for that, Darren. And we also have Righteous Bongile Kata, who is the manager of Pilanati Golden Stars. We have Mr. Tovela out there, who's from Nkangala Men's Sector, the chairperson of Nkangala Men's Sector. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. Pretima Smith, who is a journalist of Express and also a former radio presenter. And also, we'd like to thank Sibanda Radia, who is the deputy chairperson of Pilanati Golden Star. The last but not least, we'd like to thank our Miss Mpumalanga.
I'd say the root cause, it's actually not just one cause, it's different things that contribute to gender-based violence. Some of them could be childhood trauma, how a person was raised, and especially gender-based violence. I'd say it's not only males abusing or violating women. Gender-based violence it affects everyone. So I could say it's most cases it's men, but then it's like that because women are the ones who report it and men don't. So I'd say childhood trauma, patriarchy, gender roles that everyone is exposed to, and how a person was raised, and things that a person was exposed to when they were young.
So as you're having that state of mind, so do you think men and women view differently in your community?
I haven't experienced different gender roles, especially where I grew up in, around, because I don't really have a lot of interactions with most people, but then from where I grew up in, I haven't seen those different gender roles that a man must do this, a woman must do this.
Greetings, everyone. So what I think it's the issue of parenting, right? So let's just imagine for a moment that I'm a guy, right? Who grew up with my mother, not with my father, right? So the father figure that's supposed to teach me how a man is supposed to behave around women, or how are we supposed to behave in a society filled with all kinds of people. We don't know how to navigate when it's come to playing well with others. So I think now the thing that is failing is parents are failing us. In terms of what you have kids, but yet you still have your own you're self-centered.
You have your own dreams and you want your kids to live that dream.
You got what I mean? So I think what I've seen mostly is that men men or women who do violence, ne?
Yes.
It's actually people who haven't received proper parenting,
Yes.
right? Or it's people who have, like sister said, Uguti, people who have different backgrounds or hardship background. So my target is actually on parenting.
Yeah.
If men can teach young men how to behave in the society, I think we can
Come
make
up with a
difference.
solution.
Yeah.
Yeah. When, as you have been growing up, how are men and women viewed differently in your community? How are they viewed differently? Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
In the manner of viewing, what do you specifically mean if you say view?
Like the differences, how are they raising women and how are they raising men differently from your own community? As we spectate around here, in our communities, we see people growing, we see young kids growing out there. So as they are growing in their childhood and people are getting old, how are they viewed differently? What are those qualities do they give a man and they say, yo, as a man you should do this and a woman you should do this? How are men and women viewed differently in your community?
You want me to be honest?
Yeah.
Okay, here's my honesty. It's since from our fathers,
Yes.
we've been taught that men are the strongest in the house. Men are the head of the house, and that description is to say a man is like the head, you know, but the head
Yeah.
is at the top. Whereas my father taught me differently. A man is actually the foundation of the house.
Yes.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it goes back to the word father. The word father means source. So if you are the father, you're the source of your family.
Yes.
You're the source of the knowledge your kids have. You're the source of the attitude that goes in the house. Right?
Yes.
And then there's another philosophy about women that came late that said women are equal to men, which is, it gives women the idea that we can do what men do.
Yeah.
Definitely sure they can. God has built us with the same strength and everything, but
Yes.
then we should recognize that we are not the same, right? Men hold authority in every field. We hold authority. So right now we have these women who think that they are equal with men. In every environment now they come to say, I am X amount of money, I
Yes.
have X amount. They don't recognize men as authority.
Yes. Different view. Okay.
Greetings to everyone,
Yeah. Thank you very much.
and thank you for the invite. Hashtag men can do better. Let me attempt to answer your question
Yes.
as well. What I think is the cause of gender-based violence. I want to coin it like this and say it's anger
Yes.
as a result of an unmet, uncommunicated expectation.
Yes. 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 Izwakele.
Yeah. In anger, well, someone might say there are issues that contributes to a person to get angry.
Yeah.
But now what is important is there's always something called expectations.
Yes.
And those expectations, they are not being clearly communicated. That is why I'm saying my opinion is that that's a cause of gender-based violence.
Yes.
I'll make an example. It is expected for a man to provide. It's expected,
Yes.
right? As much as then there's this thing that every man knows that he's supposed to provide.
Yeah.
But it has not been communicated effectively that this man, how do you provide? And now, when I'll make an example in terms of a male and a female, then this female expect this man who is not being properly communicated in terms of the expectation that he must provide, who's not being taught to say, as a man, you must provide. Then the woman would say, yeah, Dr. Meling Pimali. Then says, where do you take this from? The expectation from this lady said, okay, this man must give me money. I'm just making an example.
Yes.
Then this man says, where do you get this from? Now, automatically then there starts a friction, because hence I'm saying it's an anger as a result of unmet and uncommunicated expectations.
Yes. So what do you think contributes towards these differences?
One fundamental issue that we normally talk about it, but we don't comprehend it,
Yes.
it's communication.
Yeah. I think we should communicate more. So yeah.
You know, and when you communicate, and they say you must communicate effectively,
Yeah.
and as a communicator, you must be, as I'm communicating something to my brother, I must make sure that I communicate that information as I'm sending the message effectively so that he gets the message. You know,
Yeah.
so now, hence I'm saying that the issue of expectations, we've got males and females.
Yes.
Both these two genders have expectations to one another.
Yeah.
And they fail to communicate those things. And some
True
they
that.
said, "Ngikutshelile," I'll make an example. But you find out, yes, you but this person has not comprehended what he has been told or she has been told.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Masemula. That was,
Okay, wow, I love it. Mr. Marcus said something so important, communication. He touched on communication. Yes, we understand we are not communicating effectively.
yes.
Now we have to look at how do people learn to communicate effectively. Because as much as we are saying communication, but not everyone understands what is to communicate effectively. You understand? There's, okay, well, because I'm a reader, there are books that I read that do teach you on communication. And there's this part that they hint at. Sometimes when you communicate with a person, you need to prepare them for whatever you're going to tell them. You need to prepare them for the reaction you expect from them.
Yes.
But we don't know all those communication dynamics as black people.
Yes.
I will specifically say black people because gender-based violence and femicide, it's here, like mostly by black people.
Yes.
And also, going forward, okay, what is the root cause of gender-based violence? In my own opinion, it is gender power roles, because society knows how to effectively communicate with all of us. If we haven't realized that. I really love the communication matter. I think it covers up everything.
Yes.
If me and my partner do not communicate what we expect of each other, yes, of course, society will do the communication for me.
they are going to a lot of
I am
breakage.
already expecting, because on social media, on TV, it's there. Uguti, men are providers, and as a woman, this is what you expect from your partner. So
Yes.
because now it's already embedded in my mind that at home, although I haven't said to my man that I want you to provide in such and such a way, I already have that expectation. And then I get home, he doesn't do what's in my mind, what I've been seeing on social media, Indoda must, you know, the hashtag that's been going around.
Yes.
What happens? My man doesn't know what I want. So of
Yeah.
course, as Mr. Marcus said, unexpected, it comes there that, what do you want from me? I buy grocery, I do everything. And you know, it's because we're not communicating effectively.
Yeah, there's lack of communication.
And I also would like to commend the hashtag Men Can Do Better team. I love that you actually came at a private sector place that is one of the drivers of gender-based violence. I mean, we all know that alcohol plays a major role in gender-based violence. If we could go back to our police stations, we could actually see that statistics come, more people do parties and all that, get drunk, and thereafter arguments
Yes.
escalate. Okay, that's my opinion on the
Yeah.
power, yes, on
Yeah.
the root cause of gender-based violence.
Thank you very much, Pratima Smith.
Thing about women being seen as equals as
Yeah.
men. And then you, manje, if you're saying Uguti, women and men are seen as equal, but Uguti, Abu Baba, necessarily a family whereby there's no father figure, that's also a contributing factor. Ganjani, can you please explain that to me, Uguti? How are you saying, Uguti, where there's no father figure in the house, it's also a contributing factor. But also you are saying, ukuthi men and women are viewed as equals. So kanjani, what is it that the father can teach that the mother can't teach? Kubantwana bakhe bonke?
Okay.
Example that you gave, first things first, I would like to agree with you. Let me say I grew up in a household with a mother and a father. And I, like you just mentioned, I learned from seeing. And my dad beats my mom. Does that make a difference between you who grew up without a father, with a mother only, and me growing up in a house that with a father figure, but the father figure is, I'm not learning the right things from? Do I make sense?
You see, I differ with my sister there. In which sense? You see, when we want to deal with this matter, especially of gender-based violence, there are a number of contributing factors. We cannot say one size fits all. You would find a situation where, as my brother has just said, let me explain this. There are different roles and responsibilities that we play. There's a role that a man or a father does that a woman cannot do. There's a role that a woman does that a father can do. Let me just make one lousy one or stupid one, if you may call it. I cannot carry a child for 9 months as a man, but the seed comes from me. So my responsibility is to put the seed and then the woman gets pregnant, right? That's my role. I have a seed. You don't have a seed as a woman. So I'm trying to say that let us not generalize. Let's address issue. Because you'll find a guy whom, like for example, myself, my sister, I was raised by a single woman. I'm proud of that. My mom, she did a good job, yes. But I still lacked that father figure. Not to say I had something because myself, but someone might say, for the absence of my father, it caused me to be angry. Someone might say that. And if you're not going to entertain that person, you say, no, but look at Marcus, then you'll miss the point. So you need to able to sit with such a person to be able to tell you to what extent did that made him feel not to be raised by a mother. So I'm just appealing to say situations like that are there, and we need not to say it's one size fits it all. You'll find a young man being brought up by a woman, and let's just also take it further, my sister. Strange enough, the very same young man, let's say, has been brought up by a woman, but he beats a woman, but he was raised by a woman. Must we blame the woman? You see, we cannot. But we need to go deeper to that young man to say, if he says that, says, yeah, I'm doing gender-based violence because I'm angry that I was not raised by a man. Then we said, okay, what lokwata kwakho kupiya kuphi kusuka kuphi yini lento lena oweyilekha ubona ngathi beyizoba ngcono uma ubaba bekakhona na. So our roles are not the same. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the topic. Yeah, according, like you say, the understanding the root cause of the gender-based violence. Yes. They say it's so many. Speakers have spoken. But there's a one that is very dangerous and is very dangerous to say. The negative masculinity in both sides, not only on one side. The social ills in our society are the root cause. The financially, those who have powers in money, it become a root cause. A woman live with a man, not because she loves him, but because he's financially stable. He can provide for her. And then she has to just stand there and watch him abuse him. And men who got financial powers, they want to be validated. And then they become a wounded masculinity. You become a wounded man. And a wounded man, it can also happen on a woman. A woman who's been abused, at the end of the day, she might hold it up but you will not hold it up for that long. It will go to your children. Whether you act on time or not, at the end of the day, it will be inherited by your kids. And the question is, where do these start when it's now been experienced by the kid? So what we need to do, we have to stop it. We have to talk about it. Whether I have money or I don't have money, I need to talk about it. You have men that use positions to abuse women. Women today, they are being seen or viewed as a second-class citizens. And it cannot be allowed. When me and a woman, we can go in the area, just check who's gonna get the seat first. They will give it to me. Why? We are equal. Equally doesn't mean that we do the same thing equally. It means that we have equal rights. She's got the same rights as I do to live. She's got the same right as I do to life. So that is the problem. The baseline, it's a negative masculinity in both sides, because there are women who abuse men. And there are men who abuse women. What we need to do, we need to do a checkup on ourselves, which positive masculinity that we can use. Because you have two types of masculinity. And then once you become a wounded man, you become a wounded. You're gonna go out there and then abuse people. So the baseline is, you also have these traditional norms, whereby they say, in our traditions, this must happen. Not about the Constitution, not about the right that it's on the Constitution, but our traditions. It says this must happen. So we have to fight it. As a man and woman, we need to team up. I believe there is no solution about men without men. Same goes to, there is no solution about women without women. What we needed to do is to fight it, and then fight it harder as a team. Because today, we have those who abuse, they inherit it. If you ask that person, why you do this? Doesn't know. You wake up, you grow in a house, things happening, you take it, it's normal. And it's not normal. We have to check what is normality in our household, and then help each other. The problem that we sometimes find is that normally when we have our gathering, as in Kangala, we say, when you see the situation, it's becoming toxic, walk away. Regardless that you are a man or you are a woman, walk away from that situation. Because as we speak now, for the period that we started this dialogue, you might find more than 10 women have been murdered by a man. And when you go, you want to find the reason. It's something that should have been stopped, but we don't talk about it. A man is being wounded, not because about the action of the woman that he lives with, no, because he inherited it. He saw his mother being abused by his father. And then he says, I will then pay revenge. And then you pay revenge in a wrong person, because that young woman did nothing wrong. A woman goes to marriage, it's okay. My mother, she was being abused by the man. And then she takes this very same attitude to the marriage and say, okay, I'm gonna pay revenge. You see, so now the societal issues, it doesn't get solved the once we do that. So all we need to do, we then want to say is, what is it that we can do to stop it? We started a program that where we go to schools, because when you talk about the things that happen in school, the bullying, it is a typical ticking bomb to say, you know what, I'm doing this because it's happening at home, I see it. It's an anger. We then need more of the dialogues to deal about the anger in both sides. Thank you.
I have to agree with Sir over there. I feel like this whole thing about gender-based violence, it all goes back to a childhood trauma and how a person was raised. If if I grew up in a household where I was raised by my mother, and the only way my mother knows how to communicate is by shouting, I'm obviously going to absorb all of that. And whenever I grow up and I get into a relationship with someone and I need to address something, the only way that I know how to address it is because of how I was raised, is by shouting. It all goes back to the issue of communicating effectively, being assertive with communication. If I'm raised knowing that I have to shout to get my point across, that is obviously what I'm going to do over the years. And as a child, I've realized children absorb a lot of things.
Yes.
If a child is raised in a certain way, if a child knows that in order for me to hear, they have to beat me, that's obviously what the child is going to do in future. The child is going to say, okay, this is my wife, especially, let me just make an example about males. If a male child is raised as, in order for me to hear something, if I'm being naughty, they have to beat me up for me to understand what they're saying. Obviously, when they grow up and they encounter a relationship with a woman, they're gonna say, since you don't listen to what I'm gonna say, I have to beat you up for you in order for you to understand what I'm saying. Of which that is not a good communication method, because I was in this other course a week ago, and they just said to us, good communication is the key for a healthy relationship.
Yes.
If you do not know how to communicate, it is going to show when the more you grow. If as a child you're raised, okay, I have to be hit in order to understand something, I have to shout in order to understand something, that is what you're going to absorb, and you're going to grow with that thing, and it's going to be hard to break that pattern when you're older. That's why I say you teach a child while they're still young how to do something, because it is hard to teach a grown woman how to behave if they were raised like that. It is hard to teach a grown man how to behave if they were raised like that.
Yes.
And sometimes you're gonna find an angry man, like Sir said, you're not gonna understand why is that person so angry. Even if you ask that person, why are you so angry? They wouldn't know, because childhood traumas get locked into the back of your mind, and then they only start resurfacing years later. And it's only when you start attending therapy and then you find someone who wants to dig deeper to understand why you're doing certain things that you can understand, okay, it is because I saw my dad hitting my mom. That is something that is in the back of my mind, and I won't understand it until I find someone who's going to dig deeper into what's happening. Or I was raised with a mother who shouts to get her point across. And you're not going to understand that until you find someone who's going to dig deeper and try to understand why you're doing all those things. Because you as an individual in the front, you're not going to understand. You're not going to know. It was because of this childhood trauma that I endured. Because I say the mind works in miraculous ways. It blocks out emotions that it knows it can destroy you. It locks it up in your subconscious. And then years later, if I'm going to find a person who also shouts at me, I'm also going to shout back, but I won't understand why I'm shouting more than you. It is only because my mind is locking things away. And the moment those things erupt, it becomes a huge problem. And you're never going to, when a volcano erupts, you're never going to put a lid on it and say, you cannot erupt. Once something erupts, there is no way for you to stop it. That's why I say some things you just need to conquer them while a person is still young,
Yes.
while they're still teachable.
Yes.
Because at a certain age in life, you cannot teach someone something new. It is hard to break out of a habit. That's why it's hard for a smoker to break out of a habit.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Tsepiso, and thanks very much, Mr. Tobeta.
Okay, so what is power? I think I'll also refer to, I'm a kingdom citizen, so most of my reasoning will be from the scriptures, of course. But if I were to define what power is power is a substance. It's a pure substance that reveals who the person is. There is this philosophy that is going around that says power changes people. I don't really believe that power changes people. What I believe is when power is being received, it takes out the true person out of the regular person. I'll make a simple example, very short, right?
Yes.
When I was a young entrepreneur, I think I was making about 5,000 and what's not. I was humbled around people who were making 20,000, right? And then when the business escalated, I tend to make more money than them. And by the way, another substance that I refer as power is money. Money is also a substance of power, right? So whenever you don't have power, you remain humble. You know how to address people of your kind, right?
Yes.
And then when power comes, right? And when power comes, you have these habits that you were longing to express, these things that you long to say to people. But at the time you couldn't because you didn't have the pride, the power to say it. But when power comes, now you feel like you can address certain things in a certain way.
So in what ways can power be used for good?
I think power is expressed better in a better character.
Yes.
When a person with character receives power, he knows how to handle power. But a person without character, the power corrupts the person. It becomes defective.
Okay. Anybody, different view?
How do we understand power?
Yes.
And then
In what way?
Power.
Yes.
in a situation where we are now, in terms of, because when you talk about GBV, it means that it's coming from the relationship
Yes.
between your family or between someone. So in that content, power, it's a validation. Power, it's a control. It become above everything. You see yourself above everything, including a person that you are in a relationship with. Regardless, you are a man, you are a woman. Power, it's harmful, I must say. If I've got power, I'll look down to people who doesn't have power. Whatever material that makes me to have power, when you don't have it, it validates me to have control over everything. We have to be careful on that one.
Yes.
Because when it's come to relationship, it means whoever I'm with who doesn't have power, I have a power. That person doesn't have any say.
Yes.
So what I say, it goes. You can't build a relationship with that particular power where it's only on one-sided. You need to balance it. When normally we need to get rid of the power, the thing that makes us above other people, it shall not exist in any one of us. Because it's where you then start being abusive. If you have a financial muscles, you have the power of everything. Anyone who wants to touch that particular financial muscles, they have to beg you.
Yes.
And it can be.
So, sir, how does this imbalance of power affect relationship between a woman and a man?
It does affect because there is no balance in it.
Yes.
It means what I have, a woman doesn't have. It means what a woman have, I don't have. Because it goes in both ways. It happened where the woman got power and I don't. Power, it's about the material that you have. And it's about the validations. Once you validated yourself, it means that you are in control of everything. Then is there any space? We can't discuss. So what we need to do, we need to create the environment that's going to allow a discussions to take place. Yes. When we want to buy a bottle of water, let's discuss it. How much do we want to spend? And how do you want to spend it? How much do we have? How can we then better use of what we have?
Yes.
Not to say, this is mine, therefore I'm above everything. So it's where now it become a problem.
Okay, Tsepiso Mutlala, we saw your hand up. Yeah.
Of violence between gender-based violence, most of the time you'd find that it's because of physical strength between a man and a woman. We know that, not necessarily that it was imprinted in our minds that men are stronger than women. It is like that. Physically, men are built stronger than women, and men often take advantage of that fact. they say, I'm stronger than you, so I can hit you and you won't be able to fight back because physically, I am stronger than you. And I feel like this thing about abuse, it interlinks with each other. Emotional abuse, it often leads to physical abuse. Financial abuse, it leads to physical abuse. Because if you say, as a man, I'm a provider, and if I can't provide for you, and also as a woman, I want to control the finances in the house, obviously the man is going to turn abusive because now that man feels like you overpower him in terms of his finances, because in our minds they said men are providers.
Yes.
So everything, it just interlinks. One thing leads to another, one thing leads to another. But then to answer your question about the imbalance, how it causes imbalance, I still take it back to physical strength, because if I do not know how to communicate effectively, I am going to communicate by hitting you, by physically hitting you as a man. And women also do hit men, but then men don't report it because they're going to be seen as weak. As how can you allow a woman to hit you? But then some people aren't raised like that. They aren't raised to raise their hand to a woman.
Yes.
So everything, it just
Yeah,
leads to one
it
another.
creates the imbalance actually. So yeah, thank you very much, Tsepiso Motlala. Mr. Marcus.
Yeah, thank you. Also to add on what our fellow panel members have said around the issue of power, I think let me start by saying it's the issue of the mindset,
Yes.
right? And when I'm saying the mindset, I'm saying the following, that power is the ability to do something or act in a particular way. It's either physically, emotionally, or positionally. You know, now, when I'm saying that is that I think our colleagues said it, that physically it's masculine. A man wants to beat a woman to show that he's powerful. I'll make an example. Some they'll say, hey, this person is a powerful speaker because he's doing an act and he's doing it powerfully. So it's a power, it's an act, it's something that you do as an individual. But when in this case of gender-based violence, of course, it will look at the physical part, as Tsepiso and I think Ubaba Lapa mentioned that whereby a man feels that he can beat a woman, but there are women also who feel they can beat a man. So it's physical, emotionally. There's a man who emotionally, not physically, abuses a man. And equally, there's a woman emotionally who abuses a male. So it's an issue of the mindset. And positional. When I'm saying positional, there are people who are at a certain position. For them being in that position, it gives them certain powers. For example, a manager, let's say I'm a manager, I'm a manager, I'm having my own company. It gives me the power to hire and fire. Now, if it gives me that power, the position that I occupy gives me that opportunity to say, I can abuse this woman because of my position. And again now, also the issue of positional, you'll find let me just for an example, a woman in the house who's earning more than the man. For her to have that particular position at work and earning more than this husband, then automatically it gives that woman power over this man and then they abuse it. So that's how power is. And as I said, that it's a mental issue to say it doesn't matter if you are earning any money, you still need to respect another person. Doesn't matter if you've got muscles, you go to the gym, you're doing it for yourself, not to abuse another person. Doesn't matter if you are emotionally stable and the other one is not emotionally stable, that means that you can abuse another person. So that's my contribution towards the issue of power. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Marcus Masemula. Right now, we'll explore the differences between the root cause of gender-based violence and the contributing factors of gender-based violence. And my first question on that is, why does gender-based violence occur, or why does violence occur? Anyone? Okay, Mr. Mpumalanga. Finalist.
Based on everything that we have discussed, it can be childhood trauma, that was never dealt with. It can be how women can't deal with their emotions or with anger.
Yes.
Yes, and it all contributes to that.
So we know that many people, as we have seen on social medias, they were saying hashtag men are trash. Do you think that is one of the root causes of gender-based violence, and why does gender-based violence occur?
No, I don't think it's the root cause. I feel the men are trash, it was just a way of women speaking out, because there were a lot of women, there are still a lot of women who are still dying. So I feel like as much as it might not sound good to others, but it was a way of women speaking out.
Yes, yes. So what you are saying is that it's still right to call a man trash?
No, I'm not saying it's okay to call men trash,
Yes.
but because women had enough of this abuse, it was their way of speaking out.
Okay, Mr. Marcus Masemola, sir, please.
Can I be controversial on this one?
Yeah,
Because part of this thing of hashtag men are trash,
okay.
it contributes as well.
Yes,
Why I'm saying it contributes, because remember when you say men are trash, you're like, it's an insult on
Yes.
its own. You are also perpetrating that, let them be trash. So we need to be careful as a society when we deal with issues and labeling issues. Because the more we say hashtag men are trash, it also angers men to say, why are they saying I'm trash? Because I'm not trash. So if they're saying hashtag men are trash, then even this one who's not a trash will start to think, no, let me become a trash, because they're saying I'm a trash. So let's be careful of using these names. Yes, the issue is there. We are not disputing it. Gender-based violence is there, but let us not stop calling these names to say men are trash. Because, and that on its own, it triggers. And then, because I'll make one example, when I say this, there's a statement that I want to say, but I want to be controversial. There's this now statement to say, or ladies, they'll say, "Mina ngifuna indoda engenamali." What is that?
yes,
You know, there's another way women will say that, hey, bakholile bangezi 15, asizilungiseleni. And hence it goes back to my word to say, bese laba ezi 15 but bathi sikholile, asizilungiseleni nathi. Nakadla imali yami namele nami ngimthole. Nangamtholi, then I become violent. So let us be careful of the statements that we are using. Either on social media or in the community, especially even when we are angry. That's why I said anger, it's one of the triggers. Be careful what you say when you're angry. Because you might think that you're addressing the issue, and actually you are perpetrating the issue to go in further.
yeah. So
Thank
how
you.
can we have better ways in campaigning, in being an activist when it's come to hashtag men are trash and trashing the hashtag men are trash? In what ways we can implement in doing better?
Yeah, I'll just say in a simple way.
Yeah.
I know we want to be creative and people and use words. Let's just be simple
Yes.
in doing things. Like I like Ubaba, what he has said.
Yes.
Let's say, let us stop gender-based violence. Simple. What's wrong with using that?
Yes. That's perfect.
Let us stop gender-based violence. Let us stop it, regardless of male, regardless of female. Let us stop gender-based violence. And someone will say, why do you say you must stop gender-based violence? Then the discussion starts. Let us stop this, hashtag that, hashtag that. You know, those things also, now, if you look at them, they become tender. So my simple words, let's just be simple in our communication. And
Yes,
that's it.
but when it comes to social media, it is effective right now, as we are youth people and youthful people get influences from it. So they cannot stop using the hashtags, but there are ways of implementing, there can be ways of implementing on doing better. Yes.
Yeah, hence I'm saying, youthful or not youthful. Remember, we've spoken about the upbringing. We've spoken about what we're saying to the young ones. We've spoken about that.
Yes.
So if you're going to allow the young ones to continue with something that we see is a problem, then which means also we are part of the perpetrators. If something is wrong, let's say it. Let us not be afraid to say it, regardless if I'm old or young. If, let's say, hashtag men are trash, it's wrong, let's say it. It's wrong. Then we give reasons why we're saying it's wrong. There's other hashtag, maybe yes, they can be other in a positive way. But on this one, to say hashtag men are trash, really,
Yes.
me, for where I'm standing, it also perpetrates that gender-based violence. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pratima Smith.
Okay, I think today the word of the day is effective communication. Because no matter what we can say and do, at the end of the day, it's just that communication. I like what Mr. Masemula said, that why can't we just call a spade and say stop gender-based violence? Why was it so easy for the president to say, we are in COVID-19, wear masks, it's illegal, and people started to adhere to the regulations? You'd go into a taxi and the taxi driver would literally tell you, if you're going into my taxi, it's either you wear that mask or you get out and take the next taxi. If we are able to, if COVID-19 was a success in maintaining numbers to decrease, and I mean like, as we speak, you know, we're almost at the end of it, why not with gender-based violence? Why is it that we have so much hate towards women, that we don't see them as the queens that they are? Yes, I understand too that males are also being abused. Just same applies with them. Why can't you recognize them as the kings that they are? You understand? Yes. I also want to mention something called rape culture. We are the perpetrators. We make violence normal. On social media, I saw another post. Just quickly, I saw another post. A male posted a picture of women. Okay, I'm going to say this in Zulu. They were bent. Yeah, beba tunusile. And then he said, "Uthole njani umsebenzi kamasipala?" That we were laughing. Yeah. We were laughing on that post. Yeah. True. Then moving forward, how do we expect violence to stop? Because it's such behavior that we are supposed to call out and say, I don't like what you just did. You are painting women in a very wrong picture. And this influences violence towards women. You understand? Yes. So I just believe also that basically, yes, as much as there are hashtags and everything, but at the end of the day, communication, effective communication. Effective communication, because if we say men are trash, remember, there is power in words. We are manifesting that our men should be trash. So communication, effective communication, I just love that. Effective communication. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So last question from you now.
Okay.
So as you guys, you are here respectively so, we would like to ask what ways can we do to do better, or what kind of ways we can implement to influence the community in doing better? As we are here talking about gender-based violence, what do you think is needed what part is needed to be played in our community in order for gender-based violence to stop?
Okay, well, there's so many things that are happening already in trying to stop gender-based violence, right? But basically, yes, we are going, this is also raising awareness, but yes. I'd love for us to approach the COVID-19 way. If people were able to wear masks, let them stop doing gender-based violence too. Also, conversations around it help. As Mr. Marcus said, we will say stop gender-based violence, and then later say why we need to stop gender-based violence. In fact, there shouldn't even be a why. It's just that, stop. You understand? Yes. So basically, yes, from me to the community, because I'm a journalist, what I can do is call out people who do wrong. What I saw on social media, the post, call that person out. No, you're wrong. I don't like that. I can write on gender-based violence to raise awareness and so forth. Yes.
Okay. Tshepiso Mohlala.
And what your last question, I'd say it starts with a person. It starts with yourself. Like she said, effective communication. We need to learn. We need to educate ourselves in effective communication skills. Because communication is a skill. We need to teach ourselves, if a person can't see what they're doing is wrong, how can the next person stop that person from doing that thing? I feel like the only way, not actually the only way, but then for me, in my opinion, the best way that how can we do better, is to educate ourselves, is to teach ourselves certain things that we can see are the problem. We can see that communication is a problem. Teach yourself better communication skills. If you can see that I have childhood trauma that I am failing to deal with on my own, attend a therapist, find ways on how to deal with that and fetch it from the root cause, what caused it. Find ways, educate yourself on how to do certain things better, because as a mass, we cannot teach one person how to communicate effectively. We cannot teach one person not to hit a woman. But if you realize that I have a problem, I need to deal with that problem, then a lot of problems have been solved in this world.
Hayi ukuthi namhlanje bayangibopha kusasa ngiyaphuma. Into yokuthi ukuthi I can do it again and again and again. I won't be held accountable. So if kuthiwa ukuthi nathi namaphoyisa are also active, babona ukuthi okay, if umuntu is doing something like this, asimbambe for isikhashanyana for nalaba abanye abafuna ukuyenza the violence, they know ukuthi okay, there are consequences bangoshayela umuntu lo. So umuntu before azo actor uyocabanga ukuthi lo muntu bangizomshaya la ngizogcina ngise jail for 5 years. 5 years of my life angeke ngiyithole. So I think people should be held accountable either way.
Yeah, so besacela Mr. Thobela and Mr. Makas Masebula to give us words of closure so that we can close. Yes, Mr. Thobela.
Yeah, no, Siyabonga, thank you so much. It was worth it of these discussions. What we need to do is to continue with it in different areas in our community. Let all of us be visible. Visibility in order so that the people they will know we need to be the champions of change. Be that change you want to see in the community. It doesn't matter what is your history, doesn't matter what people know about you, but what matters now is the situation at hand. Be the change that is needed in the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thobela.
My last words will be saying, within the issue of communication, there's what we call messaging. Let us be careful of how we package our message in any awareness, especially on gender-based violence. Let's keep it simple. It's simple. Let's just stop gender-based violence. It starts with me. Just stop it. Let's not negotiate. Let's just stop it. And leave this labeling thing to say men are trash, men are what. No. Let's start with me to say, I'm stopping it. If I'm stopping it, I advocate for him to stop it. And my sister have said it. And Pratima have said it. If someone is doing it, tell him. Even on social media, as young people. Don't say, hey, and then celebrate. No. Correct it there on the spot. This is wrong. This is out of order. Let us not be scared of telling the truth because we are afraid. Let's talk the truth. And as I said in my last message, you said that the messaging part, she's made it a typical example. Wear a mask, sanitize. We did it. It's simple. Let's leave this labeling and all of these things. And it starts, as Mr. Thobela said, it starts with me. I must not abuse my wife. I must not abuse any woman. I must treat everyone equal. Let's treat men equal. Let's treat women equal. Understanding also that our roles and responsibilities are not the same. Let us learn to communicate. If you come to Tom Tiger and without having money to drink, who are you going to, who do you expect to buy you alcohol? Why do you even come here? So if you come here and says, no, it's my brother, you buy me alcohol, and then there's no expectation, it's clear. Then the brother knows that as I continue to buy this one alcohol, I'm not going to take this one home. I'm continuing at my own peril. But if they agree, again, stop as women as well. To say once you've agreed, then you go. Then when this person now says, let's go, then you start saying, no, I don't want to go. But you forgot that you agreed. No one forced you. Then you go and make a case, say this person has raped you. But it was an agreement. Let's all respect one another, both males and females, and let us all love each other. You love yourself, you'll be able to love another person. And it's simple. Let's stop gender-based violence. Because uma ungafuna bakushaye, why ufuna ushaye abanye abantwana? If ungafuna abuse, Why do you want to abuse another person? Thank you so much.
Everybody, I still wish we can stay for longer, but then time is not on our side. But I know we as hashtag Men Can Do Better with our partners as Sinkangala Men's Sector, hashtag Men Championing Change, and also Tula Sizwendota, the SAPS, and also, yeah, everybody who was able to come here today and participate with us. We would like to say, it starts with you. Be the change. Sekwanele. It's enough right now. We need to be the voices. We need to be the voices of the voicelesses, because there are many people who aren't having voices, and we, as we have called you here, you are community leaders. You can be the change. You can be the voices. People follow you guys as you are here. So it starts with us. It doesn't matter whether you are young or whether you are old, whether you are watching at home, but just know that it starts with you. We gotta be the change. We gotta find ways of implementing and stopping this pandemic, which is destroying our country. It is not only destroying people who are married or couples, it is also destroying our kids. It is also destroying the next generation. So if we are going to leave the future in dirty hands, what are we expecting for the future? Because there won't be a future. But we shall live the present in making sure that we advocate true gender-based violence. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. You are appreciated.